Hello, greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I am Screen Scene Guru here covering movie, entertainment, news, journalism. I've got quite a bit of stories here plotted out for us. I've also got a comic book haul for anybody who's interested in comics. I've recently collected my second haul, which is really fascinating. Can't wait to get into them. But let's start off with the news real quick. I've got a bit of news jotted down from the last few days. I do this periodically. I try to make it at least once a week, trying to do a bit more catch up. But for all of us that are big fans of the Yellow Jackets series from Paramount, we did get a update on the final season 4. It got a teaser revealing that it's premiering on November 20th on Paramount Plus. I'm really excited to see how they're going to wrap up the storyline, of course, about the girls' soccer team that their plane ends up getting crashed in the woods and they have to fight to survive, become a kind of cult. Very fascinating. If you guys haven't watched it already, I believe season 1 is on Netflix of Yellow Jackets, and then they want you to buy physical media or get Paramount Plus to check out the other seasons. But that is pretty cool. I bought the first 2 seasons on physical media, and then I watched season 3 on Paramount Plus when it premiered, so that's really cool. Onslaught, we got a new trailer out for it, the new paramilitary outfit action horror film. It's coming out September 4th, so early next month. We've got The Gentleman season 2 on Netflix coming out September 3rd, and we just heard news from the Royals. The Royals, Meghan Markle and Henry, or I believe his name is, or Harry, have moved back to the UK with their family. Their kids are going to start school soon, and Meghan Markle even talked about having an acting gig in The Gentleman season 3. So very interesting news to hear about. It seems like she's always doing her best work when she's acting, like how she was in Suits a few years back. So that's really cool. Hope, a really awesome Korean or Asian horror film about aliens invading, is coming out September 9th. So that's really cool. Hope is going to be premiering next month. Then we got Fall to Dead Point. Really awesome. Looking forward to this. I wasn't a big fan of the first film because I thought the premise was very dumb. This one, it seems like the premise is very intriguing. So that's really cool. The storyline got better. It's coming out September 2nd. So next month it's going to be packed with new titles. Rocky Horror Picture Show is going to be premiering at the Sphere in Vegas in 2027. So that's going to be part of a new slate of films playing at the Sphere. Currently they played Wizard of Oz and Wicked, I believe, which was really cool. I know they already have a slate deal with Warner Brothers to play the first 3 Harry Potter movies, so that's really cool. Probably after Rocky Horror has its stunt for a few weeks or months. I'm not exactly sure how long they play films at the Sphere, but I heard it's great, awesome experience. Charles Melton in talks for Naruto role for Katsuki, for a villain role. So that's very interesting. We just heard about how Charles Melton turned down the role for Beast in the new X-Men, which was kind of shocking, but it seems like he's wanted to be in this Naruto film as Sasuke very much more. So that's cool. We've already got plans for his futures. Charlie Hunnam is back for more Sons of Anarchy. They announced recently, in the last couple days, he is premiering a new FX original series titled Legends, and they're going to bring back the entire cast, even though, of course, they had an infamous send-off. The last season, season 7 of Sons of Anarchy, is still remembered as some of the most traumatic deaths in television history. Kind of had a 6 feet under ending. So it's very fascinating that they're bringing back Charlie Hunnam to do this spin-off sequel series called Legends. Maybe they'll go into maybe Jax's sons, or I know Jason Momoa was supposed to be doing a spin-off series called Nomads, which was going to be on, I believe, HBO Max, but it just hasn't been shot yet. So I'm wondering if they're going to try to incorporate Legends maybe into this Nomad into Legends. I'm not sure if they're going to. They've kind of almost done every biker group, because it started with Sons of Anarchy. They did Mayans, and then they teased that Momoa was going to do this Nomad series. But now that Charlie Hunnam's coming back to do Legends, it's very interesting. Maybe they could go into some other, facts of the biker groups that we didn't know before. I mean, I'm not sure. I didn't really catch Mayans. I didn't get around to watching that, but maybe I might to catch up to get ready for Legends. So that's really cool. Charlie Hunnam is just great, and he's been doing a bunch of Netflix specials, like the True American Horror specials, I guess, which is kind of cool. He did the Ed Gein story, which I thought was kind of interesting, but they know he's a tremendous actor. He did Rebel Moons, which were kind of all over the place. Okay, secret document discussing to avoid the study of dark energy was recently outed to people looking into these files, classified and unclassified. They talked about the physics scientists back in the 60s were concerned that if we studied dark energy, we needed to study photon energy as well. We needed to master photon energy before we ever experimented with dark energy, because diving into dark energy, you need light to compel the darkness, I guess. They need to both be equal, otherwise it's going to set you off balance in your calculations and in your intentions, I guess, and other things. So it's just very interesting, that document. They knew back in the 60s photon energy needed to be mastered before we dived into dark energy. And yet it seems like everyone's talking about dark energy, but not photons. So what's going on with that? I want to bring awareness to it. They basically said that we must bring the light to face the darkness to equal it out. So that's very fascinating. New transcript of doctors asking the Apollo astronauts questions about the moon's atmosphere have come out. So people trying to debunk whether or not the moon landings happened or not. Now we've got doctors' reports on, they were worried that the suits weren't going to hold up, that the temperature extremes could have cooked the astronauts in their suits. So there was like a lot of weird, scary horror. It sounds like horror transcripts, but they were real. Like the people on the other side of the radio, the average public that were watching what was going on the television, they weren't getting these transcripts. They were just hearing the public broadcast. But I guess the astronauts had a two-way radio system that had two channels, public and private, and their private channel linked up directly to NASA and their doctors. And I guess they had a group of children that were very smart. They called them the whiz kids. And I'm going into this right now. Apparently they helped finances for Ford Industries, because they had lost a lot of money towards the end of World War II. And they had helped Ford get back on their feet. And then they eventually went to Rand Industries and worked for the government, and then did some consulting work. So that's very interesting. The whiz kids went on to help NASA. Apparently they got technology from Russia, because Russia had the first lunar modules and first habitation pods. So they had better technology. We didn't know exactly what it took to survive space. The Russians did. They knew about 10 years ahead of us. So when the space race started, they had a 10-year time jump ahead of us. But now it sounds like these whiz kids and a lot of other private industries have patented and other reverse engineered other people's technologies, and now we're doing a lot more laborious scientific research in space. So that's very interesting. We got the Vatican was dropping sigil hints of, I guess, the previous pope referred to himself as Bergogloni, or open free the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And they talked about before he died, he went around doing a ceremony of opening locked gates, and they heard like screaming and other things coming out of the gates. So that's very interesting. The French have a term defend Memon, or defend our world. So that's kind of led to some people thinking the French have more of an understanding of this old study of the phenomenon, the supernatural, and UFOs, UAPs, than the general ufologists might, even because they're just older. They kept more records. And the French are the Templars too. You got to remember that. They kept holy relics. So the message that apparently the Vatican received from these non-human entities was that we are your creators. We altered your evolution. Over time, from the beginning, you are a part of us. Truth will come to all. We have been your protectors, but you must prepare to defend yourselves. So that's very interesting, making a lot of people concerned about, what could we have to defend ourselves from. This is directly tied into a new report from Danny Sheehan saying that Arrow, the office in the Pentagon, has now become a combatant force for UAPs. This is not good news, guys, for people that are aware. These entities aren't here to harm us. They're not here to kill us. Yet the government is so compartmentalized in different groups that many people have this technology and won't share it. And other people in this current administration are given the approval to shoot these craft down and even try to study and reverse engineer the craft, which has been going on for decades. But because of the very tight-knit groups that there are, many people are doing the same things. Unfortunately, they're harming these craft, these entities that aren't here to harm us. There's a teaser for Star Wars Starfighter, I guess, that premiered. Real quick, going back into entertainment news. And they showed off the ship. They showed off like the look of it. From the sound of things, it's going to be set 5 years after the rise of Skywalker, which some people are already kind of upset about. The galaxy in a state of ungovernance. So we know that the Alliance beat the First Order, or the Final Order, whichever one you want to call it, at Exegol, after all those ships showed up, kind of like in-game, just to, whoop the First Order's ass. Well, now the galaxy is in a state of unrest, much like the Mandalorian and Grogu. So very interesting. The Alliance is a thing, but they're kind of pulled back to their own jurisdiction of planets now that Naboo, Tatooine are gone. A lot of planets got blown up in Episode 7. So it's interesting they're now referring to that. But the Resistance is a thing. They don't have enforcement in the outer range of space. So the area that I guess Ryan Gosling's character is growing up in, he's a scoundrel, kind of like Han Solo character, and the galaxy is riddled with crime. So of course, that usually means there's going to be some kind of force that comes along, a peacekeeping force or something kind of like an order or an empire. We don't know. But it could be cool to just set the movie, the base movie around, the villains are pirates. I think that could work very well. That could be like what they did with Skeleton Crew. So that could be cool. We've got the Dorani Aerospace builds a future of flight. These are flying electric vehicles, Droni. They're being able to take off in California and in Florida right now. They're being experimented with. They look incredibly like the drones that were seen over in 2024 and 2025 that no one knew what they were. I think these were some test flights going on, maybe from military bases, to see if this technology was ready. But they're 4-winged propellers. They're able to seat like 2 to 4 people right now, but they are lifting a ban the FAA had giving EV aircraft a path forward. The Mosaic rule, Mosaic, removes weight limits, allows more aircraft propulsion studies to be done. So it's very interesting that the FAA rule was in place to begin with, preventing us from studying new propulsion and technologies, and now it's been lifted in 2026. That's very convenient. It also tells me that they've studied stuff long enough to roll it out and have it available, possibly by 2027, next year. But electric airlift travel is becoming the way of the future. It's very small right now, but potentially they could, replace all these planes crashing by having an electric vehicle take off from like a helipad, or maybe even like if someone had a nice long strip, a property out way on the countryside, and they wanted to travel in town, they could order an EV that could pick them up from their home and drive them in town, and then they could catch a ride back without having to need to drive a car or take a bus or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. It is sounding like it's going to be like a membership thing where they're going to have a charge a fee. Maybe there might be some kind of identification, something like that. But it does sound interesting. And they talk about very limited range. You need to be charged before takeoff, and then when they arrive at their destination, they need to be charged. So essentially, yeah. But Lanterns premiered with 9.3 million people watching in the audience. That's really cool. They premiered a great first episode, kind of shocking to some people. Episode 2 is coming out tonight, guys, so be sure to check that out. The Odyssey has made $1.4 billion, so it's making it the highest rated R-rated movie in history. It's made more movie than Joker now, so that's really cool. U.S. military is planning on giving soldiers a 4-day leave to play GTA 6 to enlist for another 2 years of service. Now, this has only happened in several outfits in Georgia and other places, but as a recruitment tactic that the military is trying, the U.S. Army is trying, they're scheduling this game to be available for 4 days of a leave, R&R. And after the 4 days of you playing the game, you have to come back to do your serving time of 2 years, 2 extra years. Which, I mean, to some people, they might think that sounds great, but to a lot of people, it's shocking that this is becoming a ploy to get young people to re-enlist. It's a re-enlisting ploy because they have a historic low audience and people turning out for the services. And they think releasing this highly anticipated game will help them, and it may. We'll have to wait and see. 4 days of playing the game for 2 years of service, though. Does that sound like a good deal? Yeah. HBO Max debuts The Pit Season 3 teaser. So that got some nice views. Some people that are loving The Pit. The Jimmy Olsen series gets an official title. It's called The People vs. Gorilla Grodd, and it's officially ordered from HBO Max, so it will happen. It will be an 8-episode series. A lot of people are kind of concerned that James Gunn's getting a spin-off series right after his Superman movie. Well, he was kind of campaigning for it, and now he's getting it. Like I said, the 8-episode spin-off will be set between his film, Superman, and Man of Tomorrow. Netflix debuted, or dropped a teaser for a steampunk sci-fi western called Bass Ex Machina, out November 2026, so it looks pretty good. Avi Loeb calls for more scientific approach in investigating UAPs, so he's saying it's not being studied like it should, which is true. Sicario 3 is in early development. If you guys haven't watched the first 2 Sicario movies, they're great. They got Josh Brolin, I believe, is in both of them. Emily Blunt's in the first one. The first one's probably the better film. The second one's all right. I'd be very interested to see what the third one could be, especially after Del Toro just did, what was it? I'm trying to remember the name of it. One Battle After Another. So for him to come back to do another Sicario would be kind of cool after he's done like goofy stuff. It's been in development for a long time. So is it really happening? We'll have to see. We're not sure who the director is. Will it be Denis Villeneuve like he did the first 2, I think, or the first one? Dave Bautista is officially cast as Kratos. So it's been confirmed from Sony. And from, I believe, Paramount, or not Paramount, Prime Video is shooting it. So they've confirmed it. Very interesting news. I'm sure a lot of people wanted that. It was like fan casting for Kratos. Um, Production for Fast 11 starts the end of the year or early 2027. They're not sure yet. But they just did a big premiere press conference for it, and they were celebrating the 20th anniversary of the first movie, so that was cool. Kaylee Spaney reports she's still in talks to play someone in the young X-Men cast, most likely a Kitty Pryde now that Rogue slot has been filled by Nivi Navarrete. Yeah, really cool to see Kaylee Spaney still campaigning to be in the X-Men. Maybe not as Rogue now, but as, someone. So that's cool. Trailer for Wildwood is out, and it looked pretty gorgeous, being done by the same animatographer that did Coraline. So that's really cool. It's like a historic animator to be coming back. I don't think she's done work in a few years. Jay Stratton is coming out with a new book called Out of the Shadows, which he's going to possibly reveal more of the encounters he had. He was a government contractor / he encountered an entity that was cloaked, kind of like the Predator. So maybe he'll talk about his experiences there. Tickets for Dune Part 3 are on sale now, guys. So I'm sure a lot of people were already scalping them. They were putting them online for much more than they are worth. Just like the Odyssey happened last year with tickets going on sale a full year before. Now we're seeing tickets go on sale like 6 to 4 months ahead, which isn't that bad, but still people are scalping them, causing ticket sites to crash out. AMC ticket site crashed down. Unfortunately, price jumps. Like I said, Tom Holland earned $100 million from Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, do you guys feel like that's... he earned $20 million for showing up, and then he got back-end points when the film was so successful. Now, usually actors don't earn a lot of money if they're going to get points on a film, but he negotiated that, and he's earning a lot more than he normally would have. So some people are bringing awareness to that. Chris Tucker set to return in The Final Friday. This is a big deal for everyone who's been waiting for that. National Treasure 3 just got greenlit by Disney. They did a Disney Plus series that not a lot of people watched, that kind of set up the third movie. So that is interesting. Paramount tries to pass the merger bill to the state of California. WGA tries to ask them to pay the $7 billion or $7 million, whatever it is, for if Warner Brothers can't get with Paramount, the breakup deal. And it's crazy. I think the Attorney General said they're not going to pay it. They're not part of that contract they signed. Arrow, like I said, has been turned into a combative force now in the UAP office. Pilots are being trained to combat UAPs. So if any of these stories are like to be believed, that is very concerning for people that have family in the military, obviously, services. They talk about how they go into low Earth orbit with new systems to engage kinetically with UAPs. Danny Sheehan, which I'm not sure if I want to believe him or not, he has kind of lied before, and we've heard him steal research from Stephen Greer and others, but he's a lawyer, and I'm sure he could defend himself. He recently was on a podcast talking about pilots are being trained to combat UAPs. A commanding Air Force officer has now joined Arrow as someone that's going to be a consultant and be training. So that's very interesting. The pilots are receiving training from Space Force. So that's another thing. SR-47, which is shot by a rocket. It's a combative drone that they're controlling in low orbit, the troposphere, basically. And their whole mission is to prevent these UAPs from coming into Earth orbit, which sounds very interesting, kind of like a Space Invaders video game. But what the hell? Yes. They're referring to a golden dome, what Trump also talked about. With these new capabilities, they can see cloaked ships. So even the UAPs that are trying to hide, this apparent new systems are being used to find them. Their weaponry is being used to shoot these craft down in Mexico and the U.S. So that's very concerning, especially for people that are living in areas with a lot of phenomena with these sites. We just heard a report. Ross Coulthart talked about there's a house in Russia that has a UFO under it. You guys can look this up on News Nation. The house has been historically spooked, the phenomenon, ghostly activities, because of this ship that's under the house that is projecting a field. And apparently back in the day, a man tried to dig a well and he ended up striking the metal. And they said when he hit it with a pickaxe, he was hit with a concussive force, so some sort of energy field threw him back. And they've done ground penetrating radar, and they know there's what seems to be an ejection pod underneath the metallic saucer. There appears to be what looks like a life raft with entities in it. So very interesting. The Russian government tried to lock down the area, but of course they ended up keeping the house. They didn't demolish it and they didn't dig it up. It's still there under the house. So it's very fascinating. But if all these stories are to be believed and are true, it's like the Uinta Basin, Skinwalker Ranch, has a craft, and it makes the entire basin light up with activity because it's projecting this field. So that's very interesting. It also goes into wormholes and other things that theoretical physicists believe are happening. There was a recent report about the San Andreas Fault is slipping faster than previously expected. And they know they're long overdue for a new earthquake. Whalefall dropped its official trailer, which I wanted everyone to see. This was a footage from CinemaCon in Vegas. Awesome. It made everyone afraid of going in the ocean, of course. And like I said, Doom Part 3, a new TV spot was shown off just to show there's tickets now available online. And of course, people bought up their tickets. So that was really cool. That's pretty much all I have for the news right now. So let me go into my haul real quick. I do want to give a big shout out to McDonald's because they are having the Hello Kitty Godzilla collab. If you guys haven't heard about this, they have little minifigures that are Godzilla inspired and Godzilla's friends and enemies inspired dolls. I was able to get a few already as part of my collection, and I'll show them off. Show off my Rodon. So cute. I love these little figures. And for people that are collecting all 8, it's like a challenge to get all 8. They come with your Happy Meal. I got King Ghidorah. So sick. And I'm going to have to find a place for these on the shelf. But I want to get freaking the Godzilla one, man. I want to get the Hello Kitty Godzilla, and then I want to get maybe another couple of the other ones. Like the Mecha Godzilla would be cool. Mothra. But I got to go back. I got to get some more. But I wanted to show off my collection of the 2 I got. Pretty dope. Alright. Now, going into my comic book haul. I got quite a nice haul of comics, and I'll start showing them off right now. Waited long enough, I know. We've got Magic the Gathering, which these are like old vintage comics. Nice. Back in the day, I'm trying to find a year on it. 1994, so not too bad. 90s comics are always the best. I got another one. Ice Age Magic the Gathering. Dope. And then we've got, let's see, Black Book. Exactly sure. It's just titled Black Book. That's cool. The Avengers Luke Cage. New Avengers Luke Cage. Badass cover. Him fighting lions. I'll bring this back over. The Living Corpse, which is like a nice, like, gothic metal comic, right? Got Star Trek, which is awesome. It's always fun. DC was premiering these Star Trek comics, and this is, let's see, Mask of the Phantasm. What year did that come out? Does it say? Based on, let's see in year. Let me see if I can find one here. Paramount. Jeez. 1990 something. The 90s. Nice. Star Trek comic. On Wings of Death. Dope. Here's an Avengers comic. Dope. We got Death Blow. Black cover. Another The Living Corpse. Which is pretty fun. This one was like one that I was really interested in. This is Boondock Saints. And it's signed Boondocks. Really awesome. Badass. I love the movies too. I wish they would do a third one with Norman Reedus. I'm just waiting to see if they'll ever do that. We've got Infestation, G.I. Joe. So it's basically G.I. Joe where they fight zombies. Dope. And we've got Son of Asgard, Thor. Nice. And then a nice thick one, Inferno. So Grimm Fairy Tales, Inferno. Which I haven't checked out, but this is like a thick book. And a hot chick on the cover, so it's a plus. And then we've got, let's see, put this one right here. Fall. Incredible Hulk comic. Pretty nice. And then Suicide Girls. Very interesting. Provocative, even. We got A World Without a Superman. So this is after the death of Superman. This is like all the mourning, which would have been a really cool storyline. I mean, they kind of adapted this in the Joss Whedon Justice League and then the Zack Snyder Justice League where he comes back in the black suit. But A World Without a Superman. Can't wait to check this out. This is another big book. Set this over here. Dope. And then we got another Star Trek Next Generations comic. DC, man. And then we got final one. This is a collab of the ages, guys, because this is G.I. Joe, Transformers, and the Ghostbusters fighting zombies. And it's called Infestation. So check this out. Very interesting. They could build up to this eventually. I'm not sure. With the whole Paramount wants to do a G.I. Joe Transformers collab already. I don't know how they would get the rights to Ghostbusters involved. But if they could throw in some zombies, that would be pretty sweet, I would say. But that's my whole collection. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the news that's breaking. My hauls that I'm doing. I'm going to be covering some comics soon for the channel. Be sure to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, all the places. I do thank you very much for all the love and support. Check out Lanterns. Episode 2 is out tonight on HBO. I'm looking forward to it very much, hearing the back news. But let's keep the channel going, keep it running, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye-bye, y'all, and have a good one. See you next time.